In today's video, I wanted to provide you all with a pretty solid Strand Hunter build that you can feel free to take into this week's Nightfall, which is Hyper Net Current, the newest strike that was released with the Nightfall expansion, all right? You can also use this build for Nightfalls to come in the near future. Although it's simple, I felt this build to be very effective in being able to have borderline unlimited suspending slams, which is incredible for ad control, of course, and is great for stopping those unstoppable champions. Overall, I felt it to be necessary for a Nightfall like this because you do find yourself in a lot of those close quarter combat situations, and when up close on those higher level Nightfalls, you can easily be at a disadvantage. So when you suspend these enemies, you are now in a position where you have the upper hand and you have the opportunity to reposition and or clean them up if need be, all right? Keeping that ability energy refreshed as much as possible is pivotal for you in tackling this Nightfall on the Legend and or Master difficulties. Now that I went ahead and laid out the premise, let's go ahead and jump into this build, shall we? Now with this build, I do want to preface it by saying that I went ahead and put this build together specifically for this particular strike with the modifiers and whatnot, right? So here, just to show you all the modifiers for this Nightfall real quick during the time of making this build, this is what things look like, all right? So I'll show you Legend, why not? Master is really no different, I don't think. So you see Solar Surge, Strand Surge, we are getting an Arc Threat, Overload and Unstoppable Champions, so on and so forth, right? Overcharged grenade launchers, yada, 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 yit. This is what the modifiers look like here. So jumping back into this build, again, I wanted to place an emphasis on suspending slams. That was my big thing, all right? Suspending slam, or not suspending, what the heck? Ensnaring slam. I'm gonna call it suspending slam, whatever. That's just what I'm gonna call it for this video. We're gonna roll with it, right? It's like doing a shatter dive with the stasis class, but instead you slam the ground, everybody around you within a proximity gets suspended and you can go ahead and body them, all right? So this is what everything is looking like on my Thread Runner subclass. So of course, Widow Silk and Snaring Slam, rocking the grapple just for mobility. I prefer that. A lot of people are starting to rock the shackle grenades more for suspending. Feel free to do that, all good there. I stick with the grapple just because I like getting out of tricky situations. Threaded spike, and then also I like the grapple melee, by the way. Keep that in mind. Triple jump, marksman dodge, like to reload my weapons, my fragments. Threat of mind, defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy because I want to get that class ability energy back as soon as possible so I can go ahead and do another ensnaring slam or suspending slam, whatever you want to call it now that I've confused everybody. Also rock threat of ascent, activating your grenade ability, reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne effectiveness. Don't really care about the AE and the handling too much in PvE, but of course, every time you grapple, weapon reload, cool. That's again just for me so that as I get out of a situation, if I need to kill somebody real quick, I can, right? Finisher blows create threadlings, right? Thread of finality. I keep that on there for personal preference, and I like the recov, I ain't gonna lie. And then, of course, thread of generation, because again, I do like to get my grapples back as fast as possible because again, I am trying to do my grapple melee as much as possible to go ahead and create a little orb thingy. I forgot what the heck they're called. What the heck are they called? I don't know. Somebody in the comments can go ahead and drop it. I forgot, but create the little ball thing that you can shoot and it can explode, or you can throw it, grapple to it, whatever, right? That's what I like to do. I like to do that a lot. So this build, I will say this is not perfect by any means. I put this together super quick because I wanted to get in a few Nightfall runs prior to going to bed, of course, right? So this is kind of how things look. I'll start from bottom up, right? So Cloak, resilience mod, gotta have some resil. Rocking distribution, right? All ability cooldowns are reduced when you use that class ability near targets, right? We're always going to be using our ensnaring slam near targets, so we want distribution. Bomber, reduce grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Again, this is just for me to get my grapple back a bit quicker. And then also I have utility finisher, okay? Finishers restore class abilities, all right? Again, I'm trying to finish people whenever I want to get my class ability up, and based off of this Nightfall, I want to say every time I would finish somebody, I think I would get like 20 to 25% of class ability. Of course, I believe you have to have an armor charge to go ahead and proc that, right? So legs, we're looking like we're rocking absolution, right? Reduce all ability cooldowns every time you pick up an orb of power. That's huge because we're trying to generate orbs of power. Teammates are generating orbs, picking them up to go ahead and reduce that ability cooldown. Because again, I want to be able to ensnaring slam as much as possible. And then also rocking insulation as well, reduce class ability cooldown every time you pick up an orb of power, right? So this is all abilities, and then the class abilities here. I'm just rocking these synonymously. And then Strand Weapon Surge, because the modifier is, of course, Strand, Surge, and Solar Surge. I couldn't think off the top of my head for whatever reason, right? So I'm always going to try to pick up orbs of power to get the benefit so I can boost my beautiful Perpetualis, okay? On the armor, I'm just going for straight resistance here, right? Melee damage resistance, because I do have a lot of close quarter combat on this particular Nightfall, right? Then also I'm going arc resistance because it is arc threat, right? I can't recall if there's too much arc damage that comes your way, but if it does, it's going to hit harder. And I just want to make sure that I can not get one shot, right? I can survive more than one arc shot. So I'll go ahead and have arc resistance on, void resistance as well, because those minotaurs, as you all know, they'll chase you down and they will clap you, along with the taken hobgoblins that get on my last nerve. So I want to be able to mitigate that damage just a little bit, right? So again, I'm going straight defense here. Why am I rocking Aeon Swift? That's an incredible question. After I went ahead and ran through the Nightfall, I'm like, dude, why didn't I put something like the 6 Coyote on, right? Give me a second dodge charge so I have double ensnaring slams, right? That's what anybody that's logical would do. If I would go back and rebuild this, that's exactly what I would do, but I didn't, and I'm gonna be honest, so I'm gonna just keep it up front. I have Aeons on because I'm trying to level up. This was my highest level gauntlet at the time, and I boxed myself in on accident, totally being honest there. So I'm gonna eventually swap off of Aeons, but I mean, it's getting the job done, right? Got Focusing Strike here. This is very important. Grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack, right? So again, I want to get my grapple back so I can fly into people and I can melee them. When I melee them, I do get some class ability energy. Now, I believe it only works once per particular enemy, so keep that in mind. If you try to keep meleeing the same person over and over again, it won't just keep jumping up. I believe it has to be a different enemy, and you get 1 melee per enemy. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I was picking up as I was playing through these Nightfalls, okay? So I'm doubling up on this just to stack the potency of this effect, right? So 2 Focusing Strikes and then Impact and Induction. Causing damage with your melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown. Again, I want that grapple. I get 2 of them. I can get that grapple back faster. I can go ahead and I can create this chain of using my ensnaring slam, kill stuff. If I don't get a finisher off to get my class ability back, or if I'm struggling to get it back, then I can go ahead, grapple somebody, melee them, you know, melee 2 or 3 enemies, get that ensnaring slam back, bada bing, bada boom, right? So this kind of helps me further create that entire loop, all right? And then on the head here, I'm just building a bit into that Solar Surge, right? So heavy ammo finder, just because I'm rocking Galley. I mean, Solar Surge, Galley, why not? And then also we have the Solar Siphon here because it's Solar Surge, and I'm rocking Explosive Personality and Gallowhorn, so I want to generate some orbs of power, okay? So rapid Solar Weapon Final Blows give me the orbs of power. Back to back, bada bing, bada boom. Stacking this, of course, increases the potency of generated orbs, right? So I'm using these in tandem, trying to generate orbs. Every orb I pick up, of course, is going to reduce all abilities. It's going to reduce grenade cooldown. I use the grenade to grapple, melee somebody to help me get that ensnaring slam back, so on and so forth, right? And then on top of that, it does help a lot that I have 96 mobility. I need to mix some stuff up and get this over 100. I just like having high mobility. That's just something I've always preferred. So like these 3 right here, mobility, resil, and discipline, I like to have all 7 or above. It's not there, so got to fine tune that. So again, like I said, this build is not perfect. Like, you know, I'm rocking Perpetualis only because it's Strand Surge as well. But if it's not Strand Surge, then I'm putting something on that has Wellspring, so those final blows can go ahead and give me ability energy back. And I'm just going to keep fighting to get that ability energy back as much as possible. So that's what I would change here with this build in particular. Give me something, give me a primary or even a secondary that has Wellspring on it, right? So I can get the ability energy back even faster, so I can suspend more and more and more. And then I'm rocking like 6 Coyote, man. I'm not rocking Aeons, right? I'm really not. So again, this build was a little bit goofy, but it's simple, straightforward, easy to do. I'm just trying to create a chain of finishers. If I can't do a finisher, then let me get a melee off. Let me grapple into somebody for that melee, throw that ball at somebody to create more ad control, or to just create more area control, I should say, right? And I'm just trying to create this loop, generate some orbs of power for my solar weapons, pick them up, go ahead and get the ability refresh, bada bing, bada boom. So that's what the build is looking like. That's what I was thinking. Those were my entire thoughts behind making this build, and we put this together pretty quick. So if you guys would like me to put together a build crafting one-on-one guide, just letting you know the most effective ways to think about build crafting so you all can do this for yourself, let me know in the comments, and I will go ahead and whip that together. But yeah, that's the build. That's the build, man. All in all, you guys can see that this build I put together is not perfect by any means. And as I mentioned, as I was going through the build, it can be fine-tuned. It can be fine-tuned so much more to your personal liking, based off of your weapon choices, perk choices, and again, even the exotics that you decide to run with. And again, as I mentioned, I ain't thoroughly think through all these things. I was just trying to put something together on stream real quick and get a couple runs in before I had to call it a night because your boy had to go to work in the AM. So that's just what it was. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for coming and watching. I enjoy what the heck, I encourage you all to subscribe for much more Destiny 2 content to come in the near future. Again, thank you all for coming and watching, and I'm signing out. Peace.